as part of my presidential or vice presidential responsibilities. And Brian Beer is our council chair that also works with and oversees the Animal Science Committee. So until we get things going, I'm going to turn it over to Brian to kind of start leading the discussion. I don't plan to do a whole lot of talking and guidance. I'm just more for listening, kind of understanding, what the way the committee had worked this year and kind of what the plan is for some ideas for next year, kind of get some good insight for that next year's committee. I apologize for a little bit delay. It is the first committee workshop of this season, so hopefully we'll start getting some more traction on that. But without further ado, I'll turn it over to Brian, who'll start leading that discussion. And I thank you all for tuning in to help kind of guide us as we get some valuable information.
All right. Can everybody hear me? All right.
Yes.
Thank you for that introduction, Connie. And like I said, we'll just we'll plod through this until maybe Kyle can get on. But I get one of the big purpose of this thing, of course, is to kind of sit down and talk about what the committee was going to be working on in the upcoming year and determine, budgetary needs for those kind of things. And I'll start off, of course, the Animal Science Committee is one of those that has historically done a pre-conference tour. And that is a big portion of this committee's work is getting that pre-conference tour planned. They've got a pretty full tour already this year. I think I've got 53 is what we talked. Last number I heard is how many they got registered for the pre-tour in Montana. So they're going to have a pretty good pre-tour there, and got all that squared away. And again, that's a big portion of that, and it takes up a good bit of the budgeting that they have to do. Also, the other portion that the committee does in conjunction with the AMPIC, and all of our committees do this, and it's picking those oral presentations that happen at the AMPIC, and the time slots that were allotted this year were 12, basically 12 per committee, and we ended up with a few vacant time slots from other committees. So Animal Science ended up with two of those additional time slots, and so they'll be having about 14 presentations happening at the AMPIC coming up in Montana. So check your schedules on that when you get to Montana and get your schedule squared away. And we'll. But that, although, like I say, those times and the locations of those presentations will be in the program. I know they're going to be happening on Monday and Tuesday of the AMPIC. So have that in mind as you go. But with that, I think what we can discuss right now, of course, is some of that, some of the activities like the Animal Science Committee does, and that's where we want to get feedback from you as members, because we want to make sure that these committee activities are meeting your needs. And I don't know how many on here have participated in one of the pre-conference tours with Animal Science before, but they've traditionally done one. Been an annual thing for many, many years. And as we go looking at their plan of work for next year, I am pretty sure that is something that we're going to need to and want to keep on their program. But I just want to open it up for some discussion as some of the Animal Science Committee activities, whether it be the pre-tour or some of the presentation opportunities. I want to open it up for some discussion as to what y'all think what's the committee doing well and what do they need to work on. I know like I say, I don't, if anybody on the call here has participated in one of the animal science pre-tours in the past, chime in about what you thought about them. It's been several years since I have been on one. Hadn't been able to attend with some of the other duties that I've had with the association because I got some other things happening while the pre-tours are going on that I had to attend. So I haven't participated in a pre-tour in several years, but the ones that I have participated on were great professional development opportunities and got to see a lot of things in the host state that will, quite frankly, a lot of things we were able to bring back home and try to help our producers back home with when we saw them in practice in some of those places. So anybody on here participating in one want to comment about that?
I'll chime in. I'm Jeff Summer from Maryland. I haven't been on like maybe the last three, but prior to that, I would agree with everything you said. I've had good experiences and had some things that we could apply, even in our little state of part-time farm, least livestock farmers here in Maryland.
Brian, I'll speak up.
Yeah.
My name is Sawyer Fonsbeck out of Idaho, pretty new to Extension. In fact, Dallas was the first animal science pre-tour I had been on. And I thought it was great. Like it was already been said, great professional development opportunities. Saw some things, especially with the Texas tour, we did dairy, sheep, beef operations, feedlot. It was quite an extensive tour, and I was very, very impressed with that. Um, the group size I thought was just right, not too, I mean, large enough that you got to meet lots of people, but not too big that you felt like you were in a crowd and couldn't get to know some of the people or overwhelmed the producers that we were visiting. So I like the size of the groups that had been set. Transportation and was really good, and um, thought it was very, very well planned out. So moving forward, I think they should continue because they're great for a lot of us that are from different states visiting a host state that maybe never been there, see how agriculture is run in that specific state. So thanks for putting these on.
Appreciate that. Appreciate those comments. Anybody else? Well, like I say, we'll for sure relay that the consensus is to keep doing the pre-tours and have those planned for at least next year in Colorado when we go to Denver. Again, I don't another thing that again like we like to discuss in these committee meetings is of course the budget. I don't have that. I don't have Kyle's budget uh, handy from what he had this year, but it does vary a little bit uh, from year to year. NACAA gives budgets each committee $1,000 to do their committee work for the year. And that's some of that $1,000, of course, goes to some of the tour cost. Try to find sponsorships to help offset some of the tour cost, and the other way to fund the tour courses from the participants themselves that are signing up. Um, so that's for sure. What other or before we kind of let me getting ahead of myself a little bit on the budget. Let's stick with some of the committee goals for the year. What else, other than continuing the pre-tour, what else do you believe the committee should be concentrating on? Mentioned the presentation portion of that professional development presentation, so keeping those at a high level is important to the committee. Of course, we'll put that in some of their goals as well.
Hi, I'm kind of new to the committee. Um,
Yes.
I work with dairy cattle, so I wonder if there are some sort of meetings through the years with other extension agents that work in the same related animal industry, just to have an idea.
Yes. With the Ag Agent Association, of course, the annual meeting is our big professional development opportunity. And that's where we have these presentations and the pre-tours happening. Um, Other meetings throughout the year have been handled as webinars on some subject matter things. And committees have done those in the past. Um, that is something that could be looked at as a possibility of having some subject matter uh, presentation. We kind of call those NACAA 365 webinars. It's kind of what we call those. Um, but the committees have the opportunity to put one of those or multiple ones of those on uh, to help the members. And we can have that, we can put that on their list of things to look at, see if they could come up with something. Did you have anything particular in mind, or just wondering if there was other opportunities outside of the annual meeting?
Well, first to see what's going on normally with the comedy, but if we can if we can organize some webinars with certain subjects, especially related to the warm weather, not warm, hot weather, or weather related subjects, that will be really nice.
Okay. Excuse my silence. I'm writing. I can't do but one thing at a time. Um, Anybody got anything else? Yes, sir. Go. I see you. Sorry, you got your electronic hand raised. Go ahead.
Trying to wait in line, I guess, as best you can. On those 360 webinars, the one of the topics that I would be interested in, um, I guess more specifically in relation to the Animal Science Committee, maybe some updates on I don't know, livestock imports and livestock diseases, zoonotic diseases. I know here in the West we've got shortage of the brucellosis vaccination, and there's some um, contracts and agreements between states on travel on letting unvaccinated livestock go back and forth between states. There's just some news articles that I've seen. But it'd be nice to get some updates on that, just to kind of keep everybody engaged as to what is happening in the livestock health portion of things, so that we're also informed. But that would be a suggestion.
Okay. Any others? Okay. Well, that should give them some ideas. There's some possibilities there for them to look at and see if they can find some folks to possibly present on some of those things in 365 webinars throughout the year. We'll forward that on to them and let them discuss that and see what they can come up with. Um, and again, it's kind of talked about it before, but before I backed up to the goals, but the budget, uh, there's always the $1,000 that NACAA provides. I'm sure they'll request that again this year, and use that kind of tour. And again, the expense for the pre-tours, that they have to cover. And, those are the two big things in the budget, and that the pre-tour portion is the dollar figure that I don't have in front of me right now, since Kyle wasn't able to make it with us. And we did hear from Kyle, and he kind of he's at the doctor's office with a unplanned medical issue. So hopefully he'll be okay. And, we'll forward this to him whenever he gets to back in good health, and we'll go from there. But, for sure that $1,000, and then the appropriate pre-tour budget. And I apologize for not having that handy. I did see that, but, and have seen it, but I don't have it handy and in front of me. And it would probably take me 10 minutes to find it. Nobody wants to sit around and look at that. So, but that's kind of the budget, and again, that'll be presented, for approval to the board. And I imagine that pre-tour budget will probably be reflective and very similar to what this year's pre-tour budget was. Um, Anybody think of anything else that might need to be included in that budget? Other than that's those two pretty big ticket items. That the pre-tour is a big ticket item, and of course the NACA committee funding is something that we know is going to happen. Okay. Nothing else on the budget. One other thing that we always like to just bring up during these committee workshops is, if the committee has anything that, they think needs to be brought before the NACAA board, or, for an idea or a concern or a problem, and mainly, sometimes to change how things are, to change some things, some procedures of things that requires board action. And that's one thing that we do ask of while we're in these committee meetings, is if there is anything that the committee believes needs to be addressed by the board, or need to come up to the board for their action to change something. If anybody's got anything that they think this committee needs to bring up on that front, we can discuss that now. And it could be Animal Science Committee related, or it could be even bigger picture NACAA related. If so, don't feel like it just has to be Animal Science Committee things that's up for discussion. We can talk about, other NACAA policies that maybe affect across committees or across the membership. So anything that you think that this committee would need to bring forward to the board, we can do that and then put it in this report, and the board will see that and look at it and possibly take action on it if need be. Anybody have anything in that realm that they believe? All right. One other thing I want to just kind of put in everybody's, on everybody's radar, is I appreciate everybody that was able to come today and attend these. It's committee work is a excellent avenue to become involved with the National Association. It's a good first step. If is being the committees are set up as having regional vice chairs. In other words, a vice chair from each of our regions and a committee chair. And getting started as a committee vice chair is a really, really good way to get involved with National Association as a start. So as we go forward, uh, and we just went through. We always ask for nominations for those open committee positions and vice chair positions. You'll see that advertisement made in the December edition of the County Agent magazine. Look at that list and look at those open positions that we're seeking nominations for. And if you are from a region that has an opening, whether it's on the Animal Science Committee, or I'll even put a plug in for the other committees that you're interested in, it's a good way to get involved with the National Association. We're always looking for good folks to take these positions, and it's a good way for newer folks to get involved as well. So um, give us some consideration. As you but that, like I said, that is an excellent way to get involved with the National Association as a kind of a starter position, is those regional committee chairs. One other thing I'd like to, I just curious, um, probably ought to go around the room here, the virtual room anyway, and just because I'd like to get an idea who's here. But if and I'll just kind of go through the roll call here, and if you don't mind, just tell us who you are, where you're from, and how you participated in the Animal Science Committee in the past, how often you've gone to the NACAA annual meeting, and if we should look to see you in Montana. But if you don't mind sharing that, I'll just kind of go around the room here as I have you folks on my screen. Miss Brenda, if you're available,
Yeah, my
you're
name is
first
Brenda
up.
Schreck. I'm a livestock specialist here northeast corner of Missouri. Been with Extension about 11 years. I've not been to a national conference yet, but I did submit my first poster this year. So I'm just kind of getting my feet wet, I guess.
Okay, so yeah, I guess we will see you uh, coming up. So, uh, Miss Brenda Jackson, you're up there. You're next on the list.
Good morning. I'm Brenda Jackson. I'm an ag agent in Murray County in Northwest Georgia. I can't count the number of national meetings that I've been to, probably close to 10. I've been a county agent for about 17 years. And I've not done any of the pre-conference tours or anything like that with animal science, but I'm willing to help, moderate sessions or whatever, work out however you need me to.
Thank you, Brenda. So Sawyer, if you don't mind.
Not at all. Sawyer Fonsbeck, Idaho, about 13 miles from the Utah border. And I've only been an extension I'm just a county extension educator, and I've been an extension almost 4 years. Dallas was my first AM pick, and I will be in Billings. I've got a poster that I'll present as well. So it should be a good time.
Sure thing. Sure thing. I've already gotten through three of you, but are any of y'all your state's Animal Science Committee chairs back in your home states? Sawyer, are you?
No, Brenda, this isn't Brenda in Georgia. I'm not.
Okay. Brenda, the other
I'm a
Brenda?
member of our state committee, but I'm not the chair of our state
Right.
committee.
Okay.
Other Brenda, no, I'm not on the committee.
You're not, okay. All right. Well, good. I'm sorry I didn't have that in my list of things for you to comment on, but I'd like to know that if you're involved in your state's animal science committee, that'd be helpful to know too. Um, uh, Sazika, if I butchered your name, I apologize.
No, you're right. Good morning. I'm an extension agent working with dairy cattle for about 10 years, and Montana is going to be my fourth meeting so far. And I participate in the Animal Science Committee in Puerto Rico, but I'm not the president of the committee.
So you're from Puerto Rico? Did I catch that?
Yes, yes, that's
Okay, good.
correct.
Excellent, excellent. Okay. Uh, Karen Johnson, you're next on my list.
Good morning, everyone. Karen Johnson. I am a local livestock educator for University of Minnesota Extension. My area is kind of straight west of the Twin Cities that I cover, and I've been in Extension a little over 10 years, but I've only been to one AMPEC. Um, Young kids make it difficult. I'll just throw that out there. I am the Minnesota Animal Science Chair, which is why I wanted to sit on this morning's committee, and excited to welcome everybody for 2027 to St. Paul. So keep that on your calendars too.
Absolutely. I imagine they'll be wanting to do a pre-tour there as well. So,
Yeah, we got a lot of different livestock here too, but lots of cows and pigs.
right,
So
right. Well, thank you for joining us. Okay, Ashley.
Good morning. I'm from the University of Florida and I work in Volusia County, which most people know as Daytona. I am agriculture and food systems, so our county is mostly livestock. We don't have a lot of agriculture uh, crops, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I've been extension agent for 4 years. I actually just switched into this role 2 years ago. I was horticulture before. I've been to AMPIC every year, and I don't think I could miss one at this point. I love them so much. So I will be in Montana. I have one presentation and one poster this year. And I am the co-chair for our animal committee for Florida.
Excellent. Thank you. Aaron.
Good morning, Erin Labry. I am the livestock educator in Southwest Nebraska, and I am the animal science chair here for Nebraska. I've been in extension almost 10 years now, and my first conference was in West Palm Beach in Florida. Got my achievement award there, and so I am planning on going to Montana, so looking forward to that.
Excellent. Emily.
Hello, so I'm Emily Hornberger from the Ohio State University, and I am the extension educator in Guernsey County, which is East Southeast Ohio. I started in November, so I'm very new, but I'm also the vice chair for our committee, so still trying to figure all that out and what I'm doing. But I do plan on being in Montana and also doing the animal science pre-tour.
Excellent. Excellent. Caitlin.
Hi, my name is Caitlin Turner. I'm also from Ohio State University. I'm the Ag and Natural Resource Educator in Monroe County, and I'm our state chair. This is coming up on my 7th year with Extension. I started during COVID, so I didn't get to go to MPIC for the first few years I was here. And then we had our first son, and he's just the age where I thought we could come to Montana, but now I'm due with our second son at the beginning of August. So I'm sad I don't get to be there, but this is happy news. So yeah.
Yeah, well,
Maybe next year.
sorry you won't be with us, but congratulations.
Thank you.
And Jeff.
So I'm Jeff Semler. I'm way older than everybody in the room, evidently. I've been in extension for 37 years. My first AMPEC was when Baltimore hosted it back in the early 90s. And I plan to be in Montana and being on the tour as well. I'm in Western Maryland. I am the state chair for animal science. California probably has more cows that die than we have in the whole state. But anyway, dairy is still our number one industry on the Western Shore, and poultry, of course, is the number one industry on the Eastern Shore, thanks to folks like Purdue and Tyson. But being the chair of my committee, there's only 3 animal scientists that work in extension in counties anyway in Maryland. So we're not a great big group.
Well, appreciate you being here. I'll just get some of my background. I'm Brian Beer. I am a area livestock and forages agent in South Carolina, work for Clemson Extension. And as Connie mentioned, I'm the Fresh Improvement Council chair for the next 3 years. And my first AMPIC was back in 2001 in Albuquerque. I think that's right. It was in Albuquerque, whatever year that was. So it took me several years to get started going to the national meetings. But since then, I haven't missed one, unless I was moving or my wife was pregnant. So you got to draw the line somewhere. I guess that's a good place as any. Yeah, I've worked with Extension. I started out my career in North Carolina and worked there 10 years before coming back home to South Carolina. And I've been with Extension for 28 years, I guess is what the math works out to, 29 years. Almost fixing to be 29 years. So and I served once upon a time as the Southern Region Vice Chair on the committee, and did 2 terms as the Animal Science Committee Chair, back about 2017 and 18, I think, or 18 and 19. All my time starts to run together at this point. But does anybody have anything else they want to bring up that they think the committee needs to look at? I want to give everybody one more chance. Well, I would be remiss if I did not mention Scott Hallbaker's on here with us. Scott's the executive director. And let me tell you, if you start getting in some of these national roles, you will figure out that Scott Hallbaker is worth his weight in gold. And I figured that out when I was Animal Science Committee Chair. Figured that out when we hosted the meeting in South Carolina. Figured that out during my time serving as Southern Region Director. So Scott, thank you for being on here today and lining all these Zooms up. Appreciate that. Again, we appreciate you. We don't say it enough, but we do appreciate what you do for the association. A lot of it goes unseen, that's for sure. But we appreciate it, Scott.
Thank you, Brian.
Miss Connie, I think that's all I have, unless you come up with something that I missed that we need to discuss.
No, you did a great job going through what we needed to kind of sort through with the budget and opportunities for board action and any other comments and thoughts and kind of a plan of work and committee goals. So I would just want to thank everyone that tuned in and provided some of that input or just even discussion today. Really appreciate that, because with the committee's really they're representing all of you as members. So the only way we can improve those committees is if we get some of your input. So just want to thank you for that. And thank you,
Yeah,
Brian,
and
for
if
leading the discussion.
yes, and if you come up with something later that you didn't want to mention here, absolutely email it to us or email it to Kyle, and make your opinions and your feelings known, and we'll try to address them as a committee and as an association. Okay. Well, if that's it, again, thank you everyone for joining us, and hopefully you'll have a great rest of your day. And thanks for coming. And for those of you coming to Montana, we look to see you then. Appreciate it, everybody. Thank you.